Well, here we are, crossing into New Mexico. New Mexico True welcomes you. Hello, New Mexico. Goodbye, Arizona. It was short and sweet this year, Arizona. Good to be back in New Mexico. Alright, we're just a few miles out from El Morro National Monument here in New Mexico. Stepped out a couple times to get some pictures and video of these big cliffs, rock cliffs here. And it's chilly out, it's windy, and that air is cold. Okay, here we are entering El Morro National Monument. And it's looking pretty monumental. This big rock cliff ahead of us here. I'll pull over and get a better shot of that. Hey, here's our turn. That comes up on you quick. Okay, there is a campground here. And it's getting on. I forgot, we're traveling through time and space here. We jumped ahead an hour. So we're approaching 6 p.m. Assuming the visitor center is closed, so I'm going to head straight into the campground here. Night Sky Loop. This is, I believe, only like a 6 to 8 site campground. So I'm hoping there's an available site. Looks like there is no cell service out here. Not surprised. We're kind of out in the middle of nowheres. Let's see, a little bit of information here. Boy, small lettering. I have to get out to read that sign. Okay, it looks like this is actually a free campground. And it looks pretty nice. I like this. Tucked in here in the junipers. It looks like there is 2 sites occupied here. Yeah, I think that's it. I'm gonna have to do the loop again. I was assuming a national monument, there'd be a fee, but yeah, I think that was only 6 sites I counted. I'm seeing water, a sign that says water. Wonder if it's turned on. I'm gonna take this one here. It looks like it's the most level. Hey, I like this. Very nice. Check it out. All right, we'll give you a little shot of the campsite here. This is so cool. Kind of up on this little hillside here. Get a little bit of a view through the trees. Kind of neat. It's cool up here though. I just put my thermometer out. We'll see what it is. I imagine it's going to probably get down to freezing tonight. Jeez, the wind is really whipping out there. Well, good morning. We're coming at you from camp here. It is a cool, crisp morning this morning. It cooled off quite a bit overnight, and I don't think it's going to warm up much today. Unfortunately, we're not going to see much of the sun. I don't think, according to the forecast. But anyway, I'm going to break camp here at the campground and head down to the visitor center. And believe there's just some short trails here. There's not a very extensive trail system, but there's some sights to see, so we're going to go check it out. So this is only open 9 to 5, and it is closed Tuesdays and Wednesdays, so Thursday through Monday. And you cannot access the trails when they are closed. Looks like they have oversized RV parking, picnic area. Very nice. Trash cans and recycle bins pretty much everywhere at the campground and here. Let's go see what they have to say at the visitor center. Look at that backdrop. Okay, so you actually access the trails through the visitor center. So you actually have to enter the visitor center and go out the back door. And then there's a short loop that you can go up against the big cliff, and there's a bunch of inscriptions that you can check out. They give you a little pamphlet with information because there's no signage. And then you can continue on past that for a full 2-mile loop that brings you by the old dwellings and that. So we're going to do the full 2-mile loop and see what's out there. As soon as you start on the trail here, you're heading towards these giant cliffs here. Beautiful. Up against the junipers and pinyon pines. And we're getting a little bit of sun poking through. The wind is supposed to pick up today, so I'm trying to get an early start. Be nice if that sun breaks all the way through. All right, let's go. Wow, this trail brings you right to the base of the cliffs here. The closer you get, the more detail and colors you see. It's pretty stunning. Wow. So they do give you this little pamphlet that you return when you're done doing the hike. And I'm just kind of glancing at it. I like to, when I do these, just more stay focused on absorbing the natural surroundings. Well, according to the signage, there is a pool of water down here. There's a sign here talking about that. Before the days of interstates and automobiles, a journey from Albuquerque to Zuni, about 150 miles, took 9 to 10 days. Imagine the relief travelers must have felt when they reached this shady oasis after walking or riding a horse for days across mountains, desert, and lava rocks. The water here was not just refreshing, it was at times a lifesaver. In the words of Captain Gaspar Perez de la Villarraga in 1598. Oh, this is what he says here. When by great effort I arrived at the foot of some lofty cliffs, at which I sat down and saw that there was a quiet tank of cold water, above whose crystalline waters, almost blind, I was with difficulty conquering the great madness of the insatiable thirst which overwhelmed me. When trembling, all exhausted, the wet liquor injected strength. Let's go see if there's water there. You can see where it runs down. Yep, there is indeed water down there. Pretty small pool. You can see the reflection of the rocks in it there. Looks like there's some bird nests up there. Okay, so along the base of the wall here on this little 3/4 mile stretch, there's a bunch of inscriptions you can see there. And this little pamphlet has the kind of history behind each inscription. Like this one here, they says it was 1751. This one here, Andres Romero passed through here in 1774. Romero's visit was followed by turbulent times. Mexico gained independence from Spain in 1821. Then following the U.S.-Mexican War from 1846 to 1848, the Treaty of Guadalupe Hidalgo ceded large areas of land from Mexico to the United States. This new land, the New Mexico Territory, opened way for the Americans, the last of the inscribers, to come through El Morro. It's like probably bighorn sheep. There's a little information here on how they've preserved these inscriptions. Because it is sandstone, typically the rain and weather would just wash them away over time, but it looks like they've used grout to fill in the cracks, keep water from entering the sandstone. It says the inscriptions and petroglyphs at El Morro are an important link to the past. Although they are very old, they will not be here forever. Sand grains are washed away, rocks crumble and fall, the lichens and clay deposits cover the historic carvings. A part of our heritage is fading away. You may wonder what is being done to preserve the inscriptions. The National Park Service hopes to delay the deterioration for as long as possible by monitoring and treating threatened inscriptions in the rock which they are carved. A little bit about the early preservation efforts. As early as 1920s, park managers have been concerned with protecting the inscriptions from the element of nature. Early efforts shown below include covering the carvings with paraffin, chiseling grooves to reroute water flows, and darkening the inscription with hard pencils to offset the erosion that was occurring. The first well-intended, though intrusive, attempts to preserve the inscription ended in the 1930s, though you will see remnants of darkening in some of the Spanish carvings. Erosion and weathering pose the ultimate challenge to the National Park Service mission of preserving the inscription's perpetuity while allowing natural process to occur. This corner here, there's quite a few. Some of them go up pretty high. Had to climb up there. Okay, looks like we get to do a little bit of climbing. We are at just a little over 7,000 feet, I think 7,200 feet elevation. So I'm feeling a little winded. This part of the path here brings you right to the base of the cliff. It's just the sheer vertical, beyond vertical up at the top. See all the textures where rock has sheared off. It's just so neat. Just goes right along here. There's some ponderosa pines. Oh, that wind is picking up. That's a cool breeze. So this marks the end of the inscriptions pretty much. And so according to the little guide here, lets you know you can go back to the visitor center or continue on to go see the old dwellings, which is what I'm going to do the full 2-mile loop. They do have a little, it says the 1.5 mile trip from here will take an hour. And they do have a little drop box if you don't want to carry this with you, because there's pretty much no more information. It's basically all for the inscriptions. We'll show some of the last ones here. So it says here in the guide, this Lieutenant Simpson and R.H. Kern. Lieutenant Simpson was engineer for the Army. Kern was a Philadelphia artist employed by the Army as a topographer. They spent, what's it say? They spent 2 days copying the inscriptions and petroglyphs, and the reports of the visit show not a single English inscription could be found on the rock. You can see here they actually spelt inscription wrong. It says inscriptions. Spelling error has been set in stone. This big chunk at the end here. Not much longer before that breaks loose and just falls right off. Okay, so we're making our way around the side here. It looks like it kind of tapers down, so the climb won't be too intense. But I see some railing up there, so I assume I'm going to end up top. You can just see some faint railing across the top up there. Starting to get a pretty good view from up here. So the climb up, I believe, is about 250 feet, but it's switchbacks, and it is still paved. And I've got a little ways to go. They're still cutting back and forth up here. So I just passed a couple coming down. They say it's easier if you do the loop in the other direction. That way you're coming down these, and the incline on the other side isn't as steep. So I'm getting a workout. Catch my breath here. Well, that wasn't too bad of a climb. Short but sweet. Yeah, this is cool. We're like up top. Wow. That's a pretty good drop off there. Get a view over the other side now. This is pretty epic. So glad I stopped to check this out. Wow, this is stunning. There's a big ravine here. A really nice path the whole way as well. Yeah, I think we're gonna get over to where I saw those railings from below. We'll be right on the edge. Gosh, this is so neat. Got this big column down here. Just cropping out. Some pretty tall ponderosas down there. How neat. Okay, here we are, coming to the edge. Is that a trail cam over there? Wow. Yeah, we are right on the edge here. There's the path I was on down below. So cool. Oh, and the sun's poking through. Beautiful. This is wild. I get a little shaky on heights. Again, we are right on the edge. Oh, look at this bird. So when you're up on the very top, there are some little markers because there's really no trail, and they've kind of put lines in the sandstone here so you don't get off the trail path here. You can see they're more defined here. Here the tops of the cliffs are this like chalky white sandstone. It's a little different than the rest of the areas. Well, I did not think this trail was going to bring us right up to the top like this. This is wild. There's like some little steps here. Yeah, you can see there's like this white mixed in here. This is so cool. Can't believe they have a trail here. Okay, I feel like I'm kind of losing it. It's a little tricky to follow the trail here, but you start to see these steps. Oh, look at, there's that big ravine. We're on the other side. Okay, we get a view of the other side now. Oh, you can see little Astro down there, right in the middle. There's the visitor center. And then the campground is, I believe, right over here somewhere. Well, the sun is poking through. That feels so good. That wind is chilly. Okay, we made it to the old dwellings. They do have some signage here. It says Atsinna. Atsinna, which means where pictures are on rock, was occupied roughly from 1275 to 1400 by ancestors of today's Zuni people. 8 rooms were excavated in 1954, 1955, and 1961. Today, however, the focus at El Morro has shifted from excavation to preservation. Because the walls of the pueblo have been exposed to the elements for over 50 years, halting deterioration is an ongoing effort. So here's what they've exposed through excavation is just this little area here and this big kiva, and they say that the rest of this is all dwellings as well. And they have some sort of, I was talking to the guy in the visitor center, some sort of X-ray photography or something that they can actually detect that the dwellings are under there. So pretty expansive. Some shots of the guys working on the excavation. Wow, the trail brings you right up to the dwellings here. You can see all the rooms. Very cool. Not a bad place to settle for a bit, huh? A view up here. Weather must have been intense though. You can see the kiva is well exposed here. Kiva usually refers to a ceremonial building or ceremonial room where they would do their spiritual type ceremonies. Religious, if you will. It just overlooks this expansive valley here. A view of the dwellings from up above here. So according to the information, that would be the dwellings extend all the way over into this area. They just haven't been exposed. You do see some little stuff poking through, but they've decided they'd rather keep it underground so it's preserved rather than expose it. Which is cool, because some of these ancient dwellings, I did the Aztec ruins in New Mexico, and they've exposed pretty much almost all of it. Right up here on the cliff. Got some concrete steps down this side. Quite a few of them. Well, we are nearing the end of the trail here, and that was just a fantastic experience. Truly epic being up on top, the views, just the entire experience. Short but sweet. Almost tempted to do it one more time. Well, and here we are coming back to the visitor center. For a 2-mile loop hike, there is a lot packed in that 2 miles. Highly recommend. All right, that concludes the visit to El Morro National Monument. I'm going to head back to the campground. They do have a really good 14-minute film that you can view in the visitor center. Totally worth it. I viewed that after I did the hike. Very cool. Well, I just wanted to thank you all for touring El Morro National Monument here in New Mexico with me. I hope you enjoyed it, and we'll be seeing you all soon in the next video. Thanks again. Take care. Peace.